Hey there, Perrin. Welcome to DaddyCast Math. I'd like you to open your textbook to page 53. Should be marked already with a green sticky note. All right, I'm going to assume you're there. Otherwise, pause until you're ready. Let's look at problem number 3 here. Can you read this out loud for me? So when 376 is subtracted from a number, the answer is 825. Find the number. We also have the bar model. We have 825, we have 376. Those are the numbers it gave us in the problem. We have a missing number. Let's relate it to what this girl is thinking. Can you state another way to say what she's thinking here? I'll give you a second to say it out loud. The little orange box is representing, it's kind of the same thing as a question mark, an unknown number. So some number minus 376 equals 825. We can do it the same over here. Some number, the number represents the whole. So some number, which is the whole, minus 376, which is part, equals 825. So are we missing a whole or a part? I kind of already gave it away, right? This is the whole. It has to be a whole since we're subtracting one part, minus 376, one part, to get another part, 825. In the bar model, the unknown number is the entire bar. The model helps us to determine what we use to find the missing number. So here's this question. We don't know what this number is, but if you wanted to use these two numbers to get the answer of what goes in this box, how would you do it? Did you say you would add these two numbers together? I hope so, because that's the right answer. All right, I'll give you 10 seconds to write it down on your paper and figure it out. Marks, get set, go. All right, hope you finished. If not, pause it. Oops. Let's see. So let's do the problem real quick together. We're going to take 825, which is the first part that they list in the chart. And we're going to add 376, right? 5 and 6 is 11, but we don't have room for a 1, so 1, carry the 1. But the 1 is really 110, right? All right, now we have 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 7 plus 10. 0 ones, really it's 10. 0 tens and 1 100. So 1 100 plus 8 100s is 9 100s, plus 3 100s is 12 100s, or 2 100s and 1 1000. So the answer is 1201. I know I'm not really saying it right all the time. I need to get in the practice of really saying 5 ones plus 6 ones is 11 ones, which is really 110 and 1 1. And 110 plus 2 tens plus 7 tens is 10 tens, or 0 tens and 1 100, right? 1 100 plus 8 100s plus 3 100s is 12 100s, or 2 100s and 1 1000. So then you get 1201. I never learned having to call them by their place value, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands while you're adding it up. I would just say 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 7 is 10. 0, carry the 1. Anyways, all right, I digress. Let's clear this page and move on to the next part. So let's take a look at number 4. Can you please read this out loud for me? Because I'm probably listening from my computer desk. Perrin. All right. So what number must be added to 462 to give the answer 1,000? Two parts we have right here are the 462, or the two numbers we have are the 462 and the 1,000. So are we being asked to find a missing part or a missing whole, Perrin? Okay, if you said a missing part, you are right, because here we have the whole bar is represented by 1,000. One part is represented by 462. The other part is represented by this question mark. We don't know. We're missing a part as shown in the model. So if we want to get this number, what do we have to do? What equation do we have to write? I'll give you a minute to write that equation. I'll give you 10 seconds to write that equation on your paper. Okay, so the operation we need to do is subtract. We need to take 1,000, which is the whole, subtract 462, chop, chop, chop. And what's left will be the missing number. So let's write that on our paper. You can write it like this. Oops. You can write 1,000 minus 462 equals, and then solve it in your head. Or you can write it in a vertical equation, 1,462 minus, right? Okay. So subtract using the standard algorithm, this vertical algorithm. I'm going to give you a hint. You're going to you're going to need to rename the 1,000s as 10 100s, and then one of your 100s as 10 10s, and then one of your 10s as 10 1s. Okay, I hope I gave you lots of time already to figure it out. I'll give you 20 seconds. Do it twice. Here's your second set. Okay, if you still haven't figured it out, just pause it till you're done. All right, so I think one of the things you can see from taking 462 away from 1,000, these are all numbers bigger than 0. These numbers are all 0. We don't have any 1s, any 10s, or any 100s right now in this number to give away to subtract these numbers from. We're going to have to borrow. We just know that we're going to have to borrow from the start because it's 1,000. They're all zeros, right? So we can just chop this one out and turn it into, right, 10 hundreds. But then this is still 0 and this is still 0, so we're going to have to chop this one out. I don't care if you don't like I'm slashing it the right way, but we're going to have to turn it into a 9, right? And you have to turn this. This is 9 100s and then 10 10s because we took one of them away. Because 1 100 is equal to 10 10s, right? But then we still don't have enough for over here, so we're going to have to slash this one out and turn it into just 9 10s and take one of the 10s and turn it into 10 1s. Boom. Then we can finally do the subtraction. 10 minus 2, 8. 9 minus 6, 3. 9 minus 4, 5. And we chop this one out. It's nothing. So the answer is 538. Is that your answer, Perrin? If it's not, come in, let me know so we can figure out what's going on. Okay? All right. Take a quick pause here. I'll be right back. Okay, I just got back from reading the teacher's book about this next part. To me, it's a little bit confusing, but let's see if we can do it. let's see, I'm going to go back before I deleted. So look, when we looked at 1,000 and realized, oh, we're going to have to let every place borrow. You have to borrow from the thousands to get hundreds, borrow from the hundreds to get tens, and you borrow from the tens to get ones. Well, what we really ended up with here, if you look at the bottom of page 53, we had 1,000, but that's the same as 9 groups of 100, 9 groups of 10, and 10 groups of 1. So let's see if I can pick the right colors. So they write this over here like this. This is the same as 1,000. 9, I'm going to write hundreds, right? 9 tens, tens group, and 10 groups of ones, right? 9 tens is 90, plus 10 ones is 100. 100 plus 9 hundreds is still 1,000. So this is just a funny way of representing 1,000 to do your mental math. And then we know that up here, we're looking for, I don't know, I'm going to write it in brown. I don't know why. Different colors. We already, here, let's see, we already have this number, 400, 6 tens, and 2 ones. 400s. 400s, 6 tens, and 2 ones. We're gonna, we have this missing number in between. We know we have one part 462. We're missing the other part. That's what all these orange boxes are, right? It's like saying what number goes here, what number goes in this place, and what number goes in this place. Are you following along? I hope so. If not, pause and ask me for help. So we can easily figure out 2 plus what equals 10, Perrin? 2 plus 8 equals 10. So we need 8 more in the ones group. 6 plus 60, this is the 6 groups of 10 plus how many groups of 10 equals 9 groups of 10. Okay, 3 groups of 10, right? And then 4 groups of 100 plus how many groups of 100 equals 9 groups of 100? 5. Okay, 5 groups of 100. And so then you can get the correct answer, 538, by looking at this, figuring out we're going to need to borrow, putting down the borrowing numbers down here, putting down the for the whole number, putting down the part here, and then doing some easy mental math to figure out what's the missing amount in between 60 and 90. Oh, it's 30. 2 and 10. Oh, it's 8. 400 and 900. Oh, it's 500. Okay. All right. Do you like that, Perrin? How do you feel about it? Leave a comment down below and click like and subscribe. All right, let's move on after I take a brief pause to read the textbook, but you're not going to notice because I'm pausing it right now. All right, did you notice any difference? Nope, because I paused it, but now I've read the paragraph to know what I'm doing next. So flip to the next page in your book. Page 54, we're going to look at problem 5. So what I'm going to ask you to do is you're going to do this in your workbook, or like in your notebook, your separate lined notebook. But here's what the instructions want me to do. We want you to do this with mental math, but I'm going to point out to you, okay, 10 minus 7, that's pretty simple. When you want to subtract 7 from 100 or 26 from 100, remember, you can rename 100 as 9 tens and 10 ones. So 90 plus 10, but 9 tens and 10 ones. That might help you. If you're subtracting 26 from 100, you're going to rename that as 9 tens and 10 ones. See if that helps you with your mental math. When it gets to thousands, you can do something similar, right? It can be 9 100s and 10 10s, or it can be 9 100s and 9 10s and 10 1s, kind of like we did back here. If you can figure this out, I think you'll be smarter than me, because I barely get it. They didn't teach this in math when I was a kid, so you're learning something new. Okay, listen. You just pause it right now. Pause and do those problems and come back when you're done. Okay, Perrin, are you back and ready to do some more math? I'll check those questions. I'll check the answers to your questions later. So here we're going to do some mental math. Here's the activity. We're going to take this equation, 38 plus 5 equals. I want you to solve that mentally. Here we go. 10 seconds. Okay. What answer did you get? Was it 43? Okay. Now we'll do something tricky. Okay. Did you see how those equations magically popped onto the screen? Here's what we're going to do. You just solved 38 plus 5 equals 43. And now I want you to write all these problems down in your separate notebook and solve them using mental math. But one tip is, one hint, look at the part that's the same in each of these problems that's underlined. 38, 38, this part 3,800, this part 380, and then on the other side 54 or 500. All right, see if that can help you. And I'm not going to put a timer. I just want you to pause and then resume play when you're done. Okay, ready, set, go. Okay, you should have finished those problems in your notebook. I will take a look at them later to correct them. Now we're going to do something similar. Let's delete this. We're going to do another problem. This is going to be subtraction though. So let's see, I'm going to move it over a little bit. Let's do 63 minus 7 equals, okay, got 10 seconds. All right, the answer, 63 minus 7, is 56. All right, be back in a second with some more problems for you. Ta-da! All right, so like before, we did 63 minus 7 equals 56. So as you do these other problems, I want you to pay attention to the part that you already know. And come back when you're done, but for the time being, pause the video, please, and do the math problems in your notebook. Okay, I assume you're back having finished all your problems, and I will check them later. Just want to say something, and this is the same thing for the addition problems that we did before. In these particular problems, we had, for example, 63 minus 7 equals 56. This kind of relationship of a 63 minus a 7 equals 56 is the same thing with the digits. If we turn this into 630 minus 70, then the answer would be 560, right? But it can even be 6,300 minus 700 equals 5,600, right? And we can even do it here, because here we have a 12. That's different. But here it's a 0, and the 12 is bigger. Or the 12 is bigger than the 0 10s and 0 1s, so we know 1 minus 0 is still 1, and 2 minus 0 is still 2. So we can keep the part that we know. 6,300 or 6,300s minus 700s is going to be 5,600s or 5,600 and what? 12. Since this part is bigger. When we were doing the opposite, let's go back to the page where we had 38 plus 5 equals 43. And they had a problem like 3,800 plus 512 equals. All right, the 38 part is the same, and the 5 part is the same, except that here it's 38 ones and 5 ones. Here it's 38 hundreds and 5 hundreds. 0, 0 plus 12 is easy. So we know 38 hundreds plus 5 hundreds is going to be 43 hundreds and 2 spots. 1, 2, 0, 0, 0 10s and 0 1s plus 1 10 and 2 1s is still going to be 12. So you're going to get 43,012. All right. Let's turn the page. Well, I don't know. You're not turning the page. I'm turning the page. And we're going to do this new expression. The only problem is I keep losing my pen. On the screen. It's hard to see. Okay. So we've got this expression, 2,486 plus 58. So I want you to solve this mentally. Okay, if you're having a problem, remember that 58 is close to 60. Does that help at all? How did you do it? Well, the book says if we're thinking about this as being close to 60, it means we added a 2 in here, right? We're going to have to take away a 2 at the end because we added a 2 now, take away a 2 later. 60 plus 8 is 6 10s plus 8 10s. It's 14 10s, right? So the 1's going to go over here. 4 is going to go over here. Carry down the 6. 8 and 4 is 12. Another 1 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What? Pause. All right, I messed that up, Perrin. Let's back up. So let's go back. All right, let's go back to where we're adding 2 before we get 60, and we're subtracting 2 later. It's just all got confusing. So basically, we're going to have a 60 down here, right? In your mental math, 6 plus 0 is easy. 8 plus 6 is easy. It's going to be 14 tenths, but you've got to bring one over 10 sets of 10 into 100, and then you get 500 and 2. So 2,546, but then you have to take away 2. So 2,544. I have to take away the 2 because you added the 2 to get 60. To make 60 easy to add with 86. Okay, so that's one way of doing that. Let's see if I can do this next part without messing it up. So we have the expression 100 minus 43. So 100 minus 43, why don't you go ahead and solve that. Okay, so one way to look at this is a 100 It's 9 groups of 10 and 10 groups of 1. It's easy to subtract 3 ones from 10 ones, right? That gives us 7 ones. And it's easy to subtract 4 tens from 9 tens. 90 minus 40 is 50. So we get 57. That's one way to look at it. Break the 100 up into 9 tens and 10 ones. So let's take another example. 400. Let's see. Let's write this in a different color. 400 minus 43 equals. Okay, can you think about how to solve this in a similar way? Give you a few seconds. So one way to look at this is we already know how to do 100. So if we break this down into 3 groups of 100 and 1 group of 100, and we're doing 1 group of 100 minus 43, that's the same thing we already did up here. 100 is 90, is 9 tenths and 10 ones. So we know it's going to end in 57, just like up here. And then we have the 300 left, so 357. Can you see how that works? All right, so hold on to your horses. And we're back with 3 more equations to solve. So I want you to write down those on your paper, just in straight line notation. And then try to solve them mentally, keeping track of either this example before, of the 100 minus 43, leading to 57. Or keep track of this example with 400 minus 43, leading to this part. All right, so you pause it. And come back when you're done. Okay, you're back. We'll check those answers out in your workbook. Does this make any sense to you? You'll have to tell me what you think about this way of solving the problems in your head, if it's helpful or not. Okay, let's look at this page, and one last mental math problem. We're going to do 3,850 minus 47. So I just want you to tell me, what would be your strategy for solving this with mental math? Let's take 30 seconds for you to describe it to me, or for you to write down some of those number bubbles on your page to describe it or something. So here we go. Okay, so hopefully you came and told me your ideas of how to solve it and wrote them down on paper. I'll just describe to you 3 of the ideas they had in the book. So one idea is to say, oh, look, 47, it's just 3 less than 50. So we're just going to have 3 left at the end. And then, look, there's no hundreds and there's no thousands over here, so there's nothing going to be subtracted from 3,800. So that just stays the same. We just end up with 3. That would be one way. Another way would be to say, oh, 47 is almost 50. Let's just add 3 to turn it into 50. And we take away the 50, it would be 0, 0. But we have to add the 3 back. So we'll put it there. And the same thing, 3,800 doesn't get changed anything by no hundreds and no thousands over here. Like that, right? Another way to do it is just to say, oh, 50 minus 47 is 3, and we've got the 3,803. Okay. Those are some different ways. Maybe you had a different way. I won't know until you watch this video and show me what your answer was. All right, Perrin, that's it with the mental math gymnastics for today. Goodbye, mental math. And just going to ask you to finish the rest of your textbook questions that are on there. Hold on. All right, so in your textbook, pages 52. Oops. 53 and 54. And then your workbook, pages 42 and 43. All right. Have a great time doing your math. I'll see you on the next Dadcast.